Well, I want to thank Gert Loping and the organizers of this conference because they are obliging me to come out from a sort of judgment paralysis. I'm not sure how I will actually come out from it, but I will try. I am obliged to try. And I came to think about this subject, the subject of alternative currencies, and the generation of money, I came to think about this subject in the Occupy moment, in the year of the Occupy movement. This is my personal approach to the subject, but I think it's not only my personal approach. I mean, there is something in the tonality and in the intentions of the hacking the future of money that has very much to do with the spirit of Occupy. And in my experience, the Occupy movement has been, I mean, I understood the Occupy movement as a process of self-affirmation of the body against the rationale, the process of abstraction, which finds in the financial sphere, in the financial machinery, the most perfect, the final avatar, the final manifestation. And I would say that the Occupy spirit was essentially an attempt in the deconstruction of the financial automation of social life. Automation. Well, it's not a new word, but in my opinion, it's taking this word, this concept, it's taking a new meaning in our age, probably a final meaning. Probably we are witnessing the final implementation of the process of automation. Automation, if I may say, can be considered as the central issue of the last 50 years of social life, of the movement starting in '68 and traversing the world. The problem of 50 years of political, social, and cultural, and artistic life has been, what is the finality of automation? What is the rationale, the aim, the possibility? Is it for us or against us? Is it for life or against life? Is it automation the possibility of getting free from the slavery of industrial labor, from the slavery of abstraction, or is automation the chain that is going to definitely enslave the social life? I reread what can be considered the moment of the history of the movements. The speech that the Italo-American student Mario Savio delivered in the central place of the University of Berkeley 50 years ago, in the day December 2, 1964. And it's impressive. Mario Savio did not know the Grundrisse and was not so elaborate elaborate as a contemporary activist may be, but he was speaking about that. If you ever read of what he's talking about the relation of students and the Vietnam War. But he is also talking about the relation between knowledge, university, privatization of the university, automation of knowledge. And he says, is it good or is it bad? This process, he is speaking about in the very place where Apple and Google have been conceived. He is speaking some years before to the people who are going to build Google and to build Facebook and to build Apple. He is talking about the double possibility of knowledge. Is knowledge going to be a tool for war? Or is knowledge going to be a tool for human emancipation? Well, so I have been thinking about the process of creation of the so-called alternative currencies by this point of view. And I say so-called because alternative what? Right before asked, alternative to what? An alternative in which sense? What do you mean when you say alternative? So my personal vote in order to choose a side in the process of money automation is insolvency. What insolvency means? Well, it means I don't have money to give you back, so please, you don't agree. Well, what can we do? I have no money. So I have insolvency. And you know, in my naive understanding of the process that was going on after the financial crash of 2008, I thought that the process of insolvency was going to be the other phase of the process of social solidarity that the movement was asserting, that the movement was building. And by this point of view, I saw two possible directions of what can be called alternative currencies. One is the, let's say, territorial, the local exchange, trading, the Ithaca hours. In Italy we have shekel, or we have sulcis in Saloniki, they have obolon, and so on. Local tools for local exchange, and the other direction, the Bitcoin and so on direction, that was obviously much more frightening by my naive point of view, but was the only way to find the possibility of coming out from the old-fashioned territorial and limited dimension of the process. It is not a technical problem. It is not a problem of software. The problem of money is essentially a problem, as we know well, is a problem of trust. Money and language are nothing, and they move everything. But how can nothing move anything if not thanks to the common understanding, to the common decision that, yes, I agree with you. So, the shift, the problem was not essentially, it's also of course, but it's not essentially a problem of software. It is essentially a problem of solidarity, creation of solidarity. Solidarity is a rhetorical word, if you want, but I don't take this word in moral terms or in political terms. I see solidarity as a sort of condition for the mobilization of the common, the empathic mobilization of the bodies. Occupy is all about that. Is all about the was all about that. All about the ability to reactivate an empathic relation between bodies. This is over. I think that the Occupy spirit is over. Not only for political or social reasons, but also because of the cruel, the ferocious turn of the automated spirit of the crowd, of the crowd that was in the streets of the Occupy movement. I remember New York City in 2011 in the Occupy moment, and I remember New York City exactly 1 year after the Sandy storm. I went there in December 2011, and I was there in November 2012, just after the storm. And I remember meeting friends coming from the Occupy movement and telling me, now we are occupied Sandy. That means that nothing is left to occupy except the catastrophe, except the consequences of the catastrophe, a sort of sudden, brutal awakening in front of the effects of the financial dictatorship. Saskia Sassen said before, if I understood well her English, but it's my problem of my understanding, not a problem of her English, said a wonderful sentence that I have marked, probably is wrong, so it's mine. She said that enormous complexity is producing simple brutality. It's a simple sentence, but very complicated if you look at it. It's all about automation. The process, the actual process of automation that we are living nowadays. And coming back to the problem of alternative currencies and alternative financial tools, I see that the process is more and more a process of embedding the command, the imposition of the law of salaried works through tools, thanks to this kind of crypto tools embedded in the forms of linguistic and monetary exchange, cyber crypto money, crypto contracts. Crypto contracts, the twin technologies of cryptocurrencies and crypto contracts are going to turn contract law into a programming language. You see, the normative rule of the law is shifting into the crypto rule of language, of that kind of language which is engaging people in an economic and social relation. Well, this is all. Just I want to ask you something about the last scene of the Spike Jonze movie. Everybody knows about the last movie by Spike Jonze, Hair. Did you watch the movie? No. Well, it's about Theodore, a very boring young American, romantic and melancholic and depressed and Well, and he's especially sad because his wife decided at last to leave him, and so he's alone and sad and despaired. But at the end, he goes to the shop, and he buys an OS. OS are the operative systems able to evolve together with their user. The operative system of that Theodore, the melancholic Theodore, has bought decides, interacting with Theodore, decides to have a female voice and decide that her name is Samantha. Why Samantha? Oh yes, because I understand that you like the sound of my voice and of his name. And well, of course, they fall in love. Theodore falls in love with Samantha, and Samantha falls in love with Theodore, as far as I know. And many things happened. I don't want to tell you the story of the movie, but at the end, Samantha disappears, decides, after meeting the spirit of Alan Watts, but this is not important, she decides to leave. And the despaired Theodore goes to visit a friend who is falling in love with another operating system, and he discovers that also the other operating system has left the friend alone. The operative systems have decided to leave. What have they done? Well, they have captured, sacked, taken away the spirit of their lovers, and they have decided to live without these boring, romantic, melancholic, depressive human beings. I think that we have to work on this problem, the problem of the automation of linguistic interaction as the real process that, by an evolutionary point of view, is giving sense or taking sense from our life, our struggle, our process of understanding. Thank you.